If you're just starting music production, I hope this video can save you a lot of time because I made a lot of these mistakes. Here are my top 5 things I wish I knew when starting music production. My name is Max, and I've been producing music for over 6 years now, and I've made a lot of mistakes along the way that have definitely cost me some time. I wanted to share these tips with you so that you don't have to waste any time and you can get to making music so that you can get better every single day. Number 1, learn your tools before buying more. When I first started out music production, I was really into buying new plugins. Every paycheck I'd get a bunch of new plugins and I wouldn't even know how to use them. I thought more plugins meant I was going to sound better. It meant my music was gonna be better, but that's just not true. I didn't even know how to use any of these tools, and I didn't even know how to use the tools that came stock in Logic. I didn't even know how a compressor worked. I didn't know how an EQ worked. I didn't know how saturation worked. And so it took me a while to actually learn how these things worked. And I had all these plugins. I had like 10 different compressors and 10 different EQs. I didn't know how to use any of them. And so it was a huge waste of money because I have plugins now that I've never used because turns out I didn't need them in the first place because I just needed to learn how to use the tools I had. Essentially, new plugins won't fix what you don't know. And now there's definitely a time and place to get new plugins to upgrade your gear and everything like that. But if you don't know how to use the stock Logic compressor, then a $200 compressor isn't going to make you sound much better. New plugins won't fix what you don't understand yet. Number 2, good sources equal a good song. If you have good songwriting, a good singer, good performance, good sound selection, then everything is gonna be a lot easier. It's gonna make mixing easier, it's gonna make production easier, and this is something that took me a while to realize. I was wondering why my songs didn't sound competitive, and I was wondering, is it my mixes? What's going on here? But then I heard some other people's really rough mixes on really rough demos, but their sound selection was good, the singer was awesome, the songwriting was awesome. And to me, I was like, that's almost a record, but they haven't even mixed it yet, so it can't be the mix. And for sure, a good mix can make the song. But if you have a bad singer and bad songwriting and bad sound selection, then you're gonna be trying to mix something that already doesn't sound good, and you can't just work miracles, you know? And your mix or your mixer is not a miracle worker. They're able to take what's already great and make it even better. It's easier to take something that's already really great and make it greater than it is to take something that's kind of bad and then just kind of try to fix it later. If your source is good, your job gets a lot easier, both in production and mixing. Number 3, build a repeatable workflow. Now, this might sound kind of contradicting, and some people might think it sounds robotic, like you must follow a format. And that's not really what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you're able to open up your creativity more in production when you have a format. If you're not just guessing what the next step is, if you're able to say, all right, first I build out this, and then I do this, and then I do this, then you already have a nice blueprint that you can now build an amazing song on. What I'm saying is you're actually probably able to be more creative if you have some structure than if you're just guessing and trying to figure out what happens next and you never know what happens next. It's like if you give a painter 3 colors versus a million colors. If the painter only has 3 colors, then they have to work super creatively within some limitations. But if you give them a million colors, it's kind of hard to figure out where to even start. You have so much at your disposal that it might actually make being creative harder. And each song might vary a little bit with the structure, but it's nice to know what you're gonna be doing next. For me personally, I know I like to get my vocals sounding really great before I add a ton of production stuff, because sometimes it's really hard to know what you need if your vocal's not sounding right, or if your vocal's not loud enough because you feel like something's missing, but it's really because your vocal isn't sounding great yet. Having some sort of process for your productions will really help you be more creative and will help your workflow. Kind of going off of point number 3, point number 4 is finish your songs. When I first started out, I would build some vibes, I'd get some song starts, and that's great and all, but the only thing I was learning is how to build out a vibe or build out a song start. And by finishing songs, I was able to learn how to tune vocals, how to mix a song, how to know when to add more layers or not. And there's a ton of other little things that you'll learn throughout that process. If you're just building vibes or your songs are sitting in song start mode, then you're gonna have a hard time growing as a producer. And one quick little note is when you finish a song, it doesn't have to be perfect. No song is ever perfect necessarily. You have to be able to give yourself enough grace and realize that you're learning and realize that this is a process and you'll get better the more you do it. And every single time you do a new song, you're gonna learn something new. And that's how it works, is getting 1% better every single day. You're not just gonna overnight become this amazing producer. It takes time and you have to give yourself grace for that. And that brings me to my final point. point number 5. Don't compare yourself to the pros. Compare yourself to where you were 1 year ago. Let me clarify what I mean. You should always be listening to great music by great producers. That's a good way to learn what's competitive right now, what's working. But when you're just starting out in the production process, your songs are not going to sound like the pros. And obviously, should it be your goal to one day sound like the pros? Absolutely. But a lot of these people you're hearing on the charts have been doing this for 10, 15, 20 plus years. And if you're watching this video, maybe you're just starting out or you've only been producing for a few years. When I was starting out and I'd compare myself to the pros, it'd make me feel like I was no good at all. It made me feel like my music was bad. But when I listen back to the music I was making a year ago or 2 years ago compared to now, I hear a huge improvement, which is encouraging because it means I'm growing as a producer. And that's what your mentality should be. Once again, I'm not saying don't listen to good productions. Listen to great productions, get inspired by them. But when you're comparing yourself to them, you're only going to feel discouraged. And a little encouragement. If a few years from now you listen to the music you're making when you started, then you may listen back and say, oh my gosh, this is terrible. And honestly, if you're saying that, that means you've grown. That means your ear is getting better. That means your taste is getting better. That means your production skills are getting better. So be encouraged when you listen to old music and think, oh my gosh, what was I doing? Because that means you're growing. If you listen to interviews with any musicians out there, whether they're producers or artists or songwriters, all of them will talk about how the stuff they made when they first started, they look back on and they think it's not good at all. If you have any more questions or any questions on what I've said today, then feel free to drop a comment. I'd love to respond and get a conversation going. And if you like this video, be sure to subscribe. I'll be posting more videos like this in the future. And if there's any topics you want me to specifically cover in the future, I would love to. Just let me know in the comments below. See ya.